Hi everyone, it's Derek from the iReady podcast here, and this is my reaction to the 2-each draw against Dundee United in the Premiership tonight. More points dropped, same defensive frailties, same lack of skill up front. However, strangely enough, this game was the most forward play, and we created more chances than we have in a number of games, and we still don't get the result. I think ultimately it really boils down to the team selection, and this is where Danny Röhl's got to maybe carry the can for this one tonight, because several players just not at the races, and we've seen it time and time again. Some of them we'll get into very shortly shouldn't be playing at all because they've just clearly not got it, but we'll get into it anyway. We lined up with Butland, Tavernier, Jigger, Fernandes, Mighoma, Raskin, Barron, Danilo, Gassama, Barami and Miovski. On the subs bench we had Kelly, Inciala, Sterling, Aarons, Diamande, Cameron, Curtis, Asgard and Chermiti. So there was some early pressure from Dundee United. The game was actually fairly open though. It was going from back to forward quite a bit. However, Dundee United drew first blood on the 11th minute when they went 1-0 up. We were again playing this silly suicidal high line on the halfway line. One long ball over the top, down the right hand side. Fernandes was tracking back. He nudges the player in the box. The attacker keeps on going. And granted, it was a nice chipped finish over the top of a diving Butland, but once again, playing a silly high line, and we all know how that works out. We basically one long ball over the top, and then that's us outdone. Dundee United on the 13th minute had a glancing header that went just wide. 16th minute we had a ball pinged into the box. Miovski gets a foot to it and a good close range save by their keeper. 17th minute a half-hearted shot by Tavernier outside the box and easy for the keeper. However, we drew level with an absolute stunning goal on the 23rd minute with Mighoma, and I've put here, holy fuck, an absolute peach. It was a free kick from the left, knocked away, a volley outside the box and blocked, comes back out to Mighoma, who takes it, has a touch, switches feet, and an absolute stunning shot into the back of the net from 25 yards. Never knew the lad had it in him. 27th minute, a nice move going forward down the right, nice cut back from Gassama and Barron, and a shot over the bar. 35th minute, Dundee United drive the ball forward, get a shot off, but it was a weak effort and right at Butland for a comfortable save. And that's really how the first half ended out. As I said, it was a fairly open game. Butland never really had much to do. Their keeper never either. But what was interesting is we were losing the ball quite a bit, but most of the times when we were losing the ball, it's because we were trying the forward pass, trying to thread the needle, and sometimes it was coming off, sometimes it was not, but it was good to see that there was a wee bit more forward thinking play tonight. In at the second half, no changes. 46th minute, Barami on the left, cuts inside, has a shot and a great save from their keeper. It was spilled, and Danilo with an outstanding overhead kick hit off the bar, off the back of the keeper, and cleared off the line by the defender. An outstanding piece of play there, especially from Danilo with the overhead kick. Really good from Barami as well. Just really unlucky that one there. The fact that it hits off the back of their keeper and spills right into the path of their defender on the line, and that's sometimes what you've got to have, the players on the line. 60th minute we went down the right with Gassama. It was a kind of shot come cross and it was saved by the keeper. 62nd minute, some lovely play and passing, working the ball around the Dundee United box. A lovely ball from the left by Raskin into the middle. Gassama stretches and the ball trundles and hits the left post. Gassama still fighting to win the ball back. The ball was played back in, however it was eventually smuggled away by Dundee United. However, all the kind of good work in the forward thinking play we were doing, actually fighting to win the ball, it was all outdone on the 62nd minute when Dundee United went 2-1 up. It was a corner in from the left to the far side of the box, headed to the near post, a header towards goal and a good save from Butland, spilled back to the back post, played out and around the box. We had several opportunities to clear the ball. The ball was played to the left side, the player cuts in. Several players could have stepped out and put challenges in, but they never. They just stood off and allowed their player to shoot the ball into the back of the net. Just calamity defending again. I don't know if there's a fear these days of just trying to put the challenge in, but it's something that we rarely do, and that's we give them enough time to get players forward, we give them enough time to actually make a move, and they end up scoring from it. 70th minute, Gassama was booked for a dive in the box. There was contact from behind, but he went down far too easy. 72nd minute, we had a shot, but it was right at the keeper. 84th minute, potentially a bit of controversy. Fernandes with a possible handball into our box. It was a long throw into our box. Fernandes was tight on the player. He drifts off him. His arm was by his side, and it hit off his hand. There was no apparent VAR check from what we were told anyway. I'm guessing it would have checked it. We may have got away with that one there. I would have said, though, His arm was down by his side in a natural position, so that's probably why it wasn't given there. We'll need to wait and see the outcome of anything from there. No doubt if it should have been a penalty, then we will hear about it. 77th minute, a raft of changes. Danilo, Raskin and Tavernier off. Chermiti, Diomande and Aarons on. Danilo again, apart from that one overhead kick, poor. Raskin, apart from that one crossed in ball, again poor. Tavernier, again poor. Try to do too much. However, as we'll get into, Chermiti wasn't that much better, neither was Diomande. 84th minute, a great cross from the right by Barami. Chermiti tries to head it at the back post and puts it wide. Absolutely criminal from Chermiti there. It had to be on target. He just needed to put his head through it, and he puts it wide. Just inexplicable from Chermiti there. If Dessers needed 6 or 7 chances before he gets one on target, then how many chances has Chermiti had so far and put nothing on target? It is so poor. 89th minute, Miovski off and Asgard on. Miovski had an injury earlier on. He had a bad head knock and he had to get the bandage. However, he couldn't summon the power of Terry Butcher, Richard Gough or Dado Perzo. It wasn't working for him tonight either. Right at the start of the second half, there was a couple of injuries, which meant there was 6 minutes of stoppage time, and that played right into our hands because in the dying seconds of stoppage time, in the 96th minute, we get a penalty. It was a long ball in from the left. It was going out, but Gassama had done really well, chased it, which was a lost cause ball. He headed it back into the middle. It was flicked on by the defender. Aarons and the United defender were running for it, and Aarons was taken out. Clear penalty. Up steps Barami on the 98th minute, puts it high into the right side, no doubt about it there. And that's how the game ended up. So, yeah, more points dropped. We're really just handing Celtic this league now because Hearts dropped points tonight as well and Celtic won. So, just when we think we were starting to get a grip of the things, once again, we let ourselves down. And as I said tonight, there were sparks that were actually quite good. We were trying to get forward more often. We were trying more inventive passing. We weren't just playing sideways passing. It was generally always forward passing. But the lack of quality severely showed tonight, and the same defensive blunders. Again, that's maybe two things down to the fact that we're playing that high line tactics on the manager, that one there, and several players in that team are just sadly lacking any quality. Again, Cameron, Curtis on the bench, what does it take for them to get a game before some other players? I mean, Asgard came on right in the last minute. They can't even get a minute of the game or the last 6 minutes of a game. It's something that a question has been posed to the manager. It needs to be asked again because certainly there's several players in that team just now, really, they're not even kicking their arse. Raskin was a shadow again tonight. Danilo, one chance again. Barami was probably the standout player. Makoma was quite good. Fernandez wasn't great tonight. Jiga, again, not the greatest either. Miovski, just an anonymous player. We need to be doing better. So that leads us into the weekend. That's a 8 o'clock kick-off away against Kilmarnock. As I said in the main podcast we just done, I'm out for that game. I've got my works night out, so I'm not going to be able to see that game. It's really pain in the arse time for the game to be kicking off just for TV, I believe it is as well. So there won't be a post-match there, but we will be back for the next European game in midweek there. So, as I said, we just done a main podcast. It was just came out this afternoon, so you can get that out at all usual podcast outlets as well. So, all that's left to say is thanks for listening and goodbye.